Well, hi, Kate. Welcome.
Hi, Beta. Hi, Yuichi. Everybody.
Hi, Vita.
Hi.
Yoshi.
Hi, Al. Are you on the phone? Are you finished?
I had my speaker off. There we are.
Oh, okay. There you are.
You asked me, did you talk to me?
Yeah, good to have you back, Al.
Yeah, I moved, I had to get everything together and come back down to North Carolina. So now I'm in Washington, D.C. and an interim, and then I go to North Carolina from here.
Oh, wow. Lots of travel. That's good.
My son lives in North Carolina, so I stop here for a few days
Oh,
and I go to North Carolina after here.
Oh, that's exciting.
Yeah, that's why I haven't been on, because I was in the middle of packing my computer and everything and so forth.
Right. Yeah. You move a lot. I think Yuichi and I sent you a card and it got returned to me. It got
returned. Now it'll take 3 weeks to get back to North Carolina.
Oh, yeah. So
I had a lot of trouble with the United States Post Office. They the last time I moved from North Carolina to New Jersey, they lost my mail.
Oh.
They said it went into a loop. And I said, what was that? He said, it gets into the system. It goes from North Carolina to New Jersey. New Jersey says he's not here yet. Go back to North Carolina. And North Carolina said he moved and went back to New Jersey. So I said, what do you do about that? He said, well, they don't know. He said, we'll kill it and you have to get them sold. I said, I had a check in there. So I had to talk to the person with the check and said it was lost in the mail.
Yeah, we had a friend from Japan. In Japan, the post office, like many other places, everything works so orderly. So this friend from Japan, when he visited the post office in the USA, he said, it's like a patience training center. Every time you go to the post office, it tests your patience. It's the same with DMV. A lot of customers go there.
There is one good feature they did put on for people who are doing what I do, is they send you an email and show you a picture of the mail they're sending. So I can find out what's lost, if nothing else. So that helps them track where it is. But they put that in only after it got lost. So now I know. I did get my license through the mail, and that's going to get lost. I'm going to have to get a duplicate license. So, what is there a paramita called patience?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah,
there is one.
Practice. Yeah, patience.
You need a lot of patience if you're dealing with the United States Post Office.
Yeah. So our friend called it Patience Training Center instead of
that's why.
That's why.
That's why. Now I understand.
Yeah. You can look at anything in a positive way. It's an opportunity to strengthen our patience muscles.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, or just look at their flaws or shortcomings. Maybe they're short-staffed. Maybe some of the employees are sick.
Well,
reason.
I would look up in Google how many pieces of mail go out in the country each day, and that might be an amazing thing. I'm going to do it right now and just find out, just to see what I've got my Google up here, and that would give me some sense of what they're dealing with.
Must be hard to deal with all those items. Mind-boggling, frustrating, tiring. Yeah, actually, that's today's topic. Putting ourselves in others' shoes so we can have more appreciate
They said
it.
they came up with lost, or the ROCESSED each day. Let's see what they do. Holy mackerel! No wonder you got to have patience. 162 million pieces each day.
Each day.
Isn't that something?
Wow. Wow.
That's a lot.
That's a lot. Yeah.
Yes.
So I can see why.
Yeah. So
I can see 162 pieces of mail each day. Million. 162 million pieces.
that's really something. Yeah. So, many times we are not aware of all these things.
So they lost my one check, 162 pieces of mail. That's a pretty good odds, I think. Huh?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So is this how you practice happiness, to cultivate gratitude instead of complaint?
Well, they actually put me in touch with the postmaster, and I should have thanked him. I said, "You guys do a fantastic job. Next time I get lost, I'll say to him, you process 162 million pieces of mail a day. That's a fantastic job. I am glad to be in the U.S. Post Office service."
Oh, that's very kind. Yeah. So
That's also another.
working.
That's also another practice, right? Be compassionate.
Compassion, yeah, an expression of gratitude.
Boy, you can learn a lot by getting mail lost. Compassion and patience. And is there anything else, Yurichi, that you can learn? I'm sure if you think long enough, you'll find those.
That's enough.
Yeah. Yeah, also you're practicing the non-material acts of giving, which is giving the gift of kind speech.
Yeah.
Yeah, non-material giving.
I gave them a gift of my check, so that's a donation.
Oh, well, hopefully it didn't get withdrawn or something.
Yeah.
It just got lost. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Okay, very good. So yeah, you have many different ways, Al, to practice gratitude, which means practicing joyfulness.
Sure.
Yeah, you see your own progress since you started this journey a few years ago with us, and of course, by yourself.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. Sure.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Very good. Okay, thank you for sharing with us. And let's say hello to Jamon. Hi, Jamon. Good to have you back after yesterday's Purpose and Meaning Lab.
To be back. Good to be back here with you and Yuichi and the rest of everyone else. And hearing about my guy's mail experience, it's an experience, man.
Yeah. Yeah. You want to share with us if you remember something from yesterday's Purpose and Meaning Lab that stood out for you?
Yesterday's Purpose and Meaning Lab that stood out for me. Now I gotta think back, Beta.
Yeah, the importance of having a purpose to help us overcome everyday, insignificant inconveniences that our mind, the egoic mind, tries to make a mountain out of those insignificant stuff.
Yeah, the external distractions that go on in the world, in my life, and probably everyone else's. We all deal with them in different ways, but following the guidance of Buddhism, kind of helps navigate on a moral compass level through navigate through the storms, but the distractions are still there. So it's still kind of up to us to start filtering out the distractions. I think there's an old Buddhist thing that I read about something about a mirror. The mirror's dirty, has all kind of lint on it, all kind of glitter on it, all kind of dust on it, stuff. And then you look in the mirror and you see all that dust, and then you wipe the mirror and the dust disappears. And that's just an example of how the external factors are in our life. Those external, we can't see through the dust because the external factors are the dust. Until we wipe that dust away in our own lives, then we'll be able to see through the mirrors. That's what it was alluding to. So I think that alludes to yesterday's topic a little bit.
Yeah, absolutely. That's very insightful to see that, we don't want to blame other people for our unhappiness. Instead, we try to look at the mirror that we are standing in front of, and and then if we don't like the image that we see, maybe we need to clean the mirror, remove those lints and stains. So that helps us take more responsibility and stop resenting other people or blaming others. That already brings us a lot of happiness right there, for sure. Thank you. Okay, let's say also hello. To Emily. Hi, Emily. Good to have you back. You've been here once or twice?
This is my third, yes.
Oh, okay, very good. You want to share with us what brought you here today and what is happiness to you?
I've been curious about Buddhism the last couple of years. I've done some meditation, some Sangha, but it's not a daily practice yet. But whenever I go to a Buddhist meetup or I read any Buddhist literature, it just feels soothing and calming and like it makes sense. And Buddhism, reality makes more sense to me looking at it.
A little bit connection
lens.
problem.
So I want to really push myself to really dive in and go to more of these online events and do.
Okay, very good. Thank you for sharing. Yeah, I missed the part you said reality makes sense to you, but it's okay. Internet troubles. But I heard you say how whenever you're in a Buddhist community, Sangha, you have that feeling of serenity and calmness. That's the power of Dharma. It helps us stay grounded and present. Because Buddhism teaches us how all we really have is this present moment. We call it Ichinen. It's ICHINEN, which is like a faster than a nanosecond, that time of a time. It's so swift and it's constantly moving forward so rapidly. Yeah. Okay. So you want to learn more about Buddhism and develop daily practice? Yeah, exactly. And going to group events helps to motivate you. Yeah. Yeah. Our mind, it works like a copy machine or any kind of machine. So if you don't push the turn on button, it's kind of like it can become stagnant. Nothing is happening. We need to push the turn on button, then it starts moving. So so we need that kind of good conditions from the outside. So only with our own thoughts or philosophy or ways of thinking, we just go round and round the same loop, because is it Einstein who says you cannot solve a problem from the same consciousness that created it? So we create a problem because other people don't have that problem. So our mind creates these things and it's difficult to solve it on our own. So we need that good influence from the outside. Buddha calls it good conditions. And the best condition is actually learning the Dharma. Yuichi was talking about it the other day, how listening to the teachings, to the Dharma, is helping us confirm if the direction we are headed is right. Is this gonna make me reach a point where I feel it was worthwhile, instead of having regrets and then become resentful about why I went this way, why I wasted my time. So Dharma helps us feel grounded and assured that we are moving in the right direction, going towards the mirror that reflects our true self, who we are. Yeah, very good. Thank you so much. And let's say hello to Xian. Hi, Xian. Good to have you back. You want to unmute and tell us what brought you here or what happiness means to you?
Hi, good morning, everybody. I've been joining this meetup group for a few weeks now. I just, same thing, happiness. What does a happiness mean to me? I think it's taking to, well, it means a lot of different things. Little moments of joy of being with my children, be present with my children, and enjoy their playfulness and be present to like just love and receive love. So right now that's what that means to me. The beautiful weather, like just a lot of joy, simple joy in life that feels happiness. I just started really enjoying the taste of food the last few weeks. And so attending meetup and listening to the Dharma talk and reading Buddhism myself, I find like a lot of wisdoms, that things that deep down I feel that is the true self, but I couldn't see that before. So I think right now, by coming to Dharma teaching, I'm trying to understand the true happiness, and see through a lot of like sufferings and discomfort and that I experience, like how to let those go, from the wisdom or enlightenment that I'm getting. I think it to me is more wisdoms these days from the Dharma teaching, how to let a lot of unpleasant feelings to go in life, day to day, and some are bigger, some are small. So that's where I'm at.
That's beautiful. Yeah, thank you for sharing with us, Chiang. Yeah, to be grateful for the people we have in our lives and to realize how much they give us joy and happiness. Yeah, we draw strength from each other instead of taking family members for granted, to know how much we draw strength from them. Hopefully, sometimes people say the family members drain their energy. That's okay. Then you can keep a very respectful distance. That's fine too. But that's a blessing for sure. Yeah. Mhm. Very good. And yeah, while Jamon is writing the quote, let's say hello to Sarah. Hi, Sarah. Did you want to share with us? I see your microphone is on. I'm not sure. Hi.
I'm actually at work at the hospital, so I'm just listening in right now.
Okay, very good. Thank you for your services.
Thanks.
And yeah. Okay. Okay, Jamon, you can explain what you wrote here. It sounds philosophical.
Your food and eat your water.
So it was a philosophical quote, Chang, and you made me think of it when you said you barely started to really, really taste your food. Like we taste our food all the time, but you really started to taste your food. And that just brought to mind that quote to me, because it signifies like drink your water and eat your food, which drink your food and eat your water, which is drink your water, drink your food like slowly. Take time to we scarf our food down like we just start eating, but take time to really be mindful of how we're eating, how it feels in our body, how it makes our body feel when we take a bite and swallow it all the way down. We don't really enjoy it that way. And then eat your water is the same thing, basically. Like drink your water slow, take time, enjoy your water, feel how it resonates with the rest of your body and those things. So it just made me think of that quote right there. I hope that a little bit. But the quote is real. I think it's a Buddhist quote. You can anyone can look it up, but there's probably a deeper meaning.
No, that's beautiful. Thank you for sharing with us, Jamon. Yeah, slow eating. That's important. Yeah, Yuichi is big on that in Japan, right?
Oh yeah. I think there is such a word, slow food, opposite of fast food. I mean, we eat slowly, and also in in my culture, in Japan, people say words before meal. So we put a pause before eating, and that's a good practice. Some scientists say people who say that words before meal don't gain weight too much because they have maybe patience or self-control. Our desire is, oh, I want to start eating as quickly as possible. But put in pause before eating and show our gratitude for the meal, for the food. We take life from the meal, so we should express our gratitude before eating. And that's a really, really good practice, I think.
Yeah, absolutely. So actually, Yuichi and I, some of our friends, we came up with this quote. Before we eat, we kind of join our palms together and then we say, I take this meal with gratitude for today's precious opportunity. Yeah, on purpose, it kind of slows us down and then it helps us remind ourselves this is a precious opportunity we have that is once in a lifetime. It will never ever be repeated again. Just like today's gathering, we have advertised this happiness lab almost for every Saturday, but it's not good to think of it that way because in Buddhism we learn a lot about how life is fragile and impermanent. So we want to know this is a unique and precious opportunity right now. And this kind of family gathering, I was saying, this kind of community gathering, this will never be repeated again. We can never have exactly the same people come here in the order that we came, like this kind of makeup. It will never repeat. So it's very unique and precious. Same thing when we have a meal. Yeah, so focus on the gratitude. Yuichi said we receive life. In Japanese, that's what they say when they join their palms. In Japanese, they say like itadakimasu, which means I'm receiving life. If we eat, some people eat like chicken or beef, that's literally life. But even if we are vegetarians and we eat vegetables, we are receiving the life of vegetables. To be aware to that level, to slow the mind to that level and think of where things are coming from, what's the source of them, and it becomes part of our mind and body, and give the words of thanks. That is happiness. Simply put, yeah. The stronger our sense of gratitude, the stronger our sense of joyfulness in life. Yeah, but life is hard. So sometimes when we suffer a lot, if we go through a loss or we are grieving or something happens, if we don't have spiritual foundation, then we become unhappy. And we have a phrase a day calendar, like this one you see here behind me. It says the unhappiest person in this world is one who has no sense of gratitude. So that's like the worst case. We don't want to be there. But by the same token, if we work on our sense of gratitude every day, it has to be cultivated. And not just verbally to say I'm grateful, but to truly mean it and feel our connection with the whole universe. For us like to be here, the air we are breathing right now, where does it come from? It's maybe the same air from a long time ago, or they say we are the stardust. To know it's not easy to maintain our body, and to have that sense of gratitude becomes very important for us. Yeah, also if we chew the food a lot, like you just said, eating the food so slowly, we don't have to eat as much because our brain gets that satisfaction. But a lot of times when we eat fast, we always feel hungry. It's like we're not eating enough because we're not paying attention. We are going forward mindlessly. Yeah. So those are all very good examples of happiness. Also a quick hello to Andy, Denise, Adrian, Felicia, Sarah, Giselle, Rick, and Kate, and Pina, and Yuichi. Okay, very good. So today is our happiness lab, and I have a slideshow here. So let's go through it. Let's see. Okay, it's right here. Yeah, so today we have the happiness lab, and we have some, today's main theme is this one: put yourself in others' shoes. As we can learn how to do that more and more, our level of gratitude actually and joyfulness rises. Our level of happiness will rise. Yeah. Okay. Let's see. Okay, very good. So yeah, so happiness can have like different levels. This is one level. We're talking about eating, right? Do you know what this is? Yeah, it's actually a fruit, tropical fruit. It's kind of large, and Yuichi happened to cut through it, and he opened it up so nicely. And I was amazed because this part is a jackfruit. It looks like a spine, like rib or something. And I mean, it was mind-blowing. It's our first jackfruit. And I always feel like how vegetables or plants, the relationship with animals, like through evolution or something. But anyway, yeah, the jackfruit, it was hard for Yuichi to cut it out. It's very hard, literally, like cut through it. And then it's also sticky. So he had to wear like these gloves. So working hard to get into something instead of buying the can of jackfruit, that's a simple form of happiness anyone can experience, because we have to eat every day. And for me personally, I was introduced to jackfruit when I visited an Indian vegetarian restaurant, and I had some maybe curry or something, and it was so tasty, and it looked like there was meat in it. So I went and I talked to someone there, and they said, no, it's not meat, it's jackfruit. And I was like, wow. It was just like the texture of meat and everything. And yeah, and then since then we fell in love with jackfruit, and sometimes we can buy it. So it's full of nutrients too. That's a simple form of happiness, right? And then show gratitude. I showed gratitude to Yuichi for working so hard to cut it open, and I just benefited from it. Okay. And then another form of happiness is to be able to laugh or just be observant of what's going on around us, paying attention. This one is like, it's supposed to be a comic strip called Off the Mark by Mark Parisi. And yeah, Yuichi contributed this one. Do you have any comments, Yuichi, on this one? No.
No.
Okay. I think the Earth is talking. It happens to be Earth Day, and then it says Happy Earth Day. There are all these cards. It's Earth Day, Earth Day. But look what we do to the Earth, all the pollutions we create. And then people just talk about, it's like bringing awareness, right? So, yeah. I mean, it's good not to take ourselves too seriously. It's important to be serious. There's no doubt we are all adding a lot of pollution to our mother nature, to this planet. That's true, a lot of pollution in the ocean, everywhere. But at the same time, to raise awareness through humor, because if we say these things too seriously, people don't listen and they don't change their habits. They keep adding, the garbage everywhere. Okay, so this one. And this one was also contributed by Yuichi. This one is called Pickles by Brian Crane. And I think it's elderly couple. The husband is saying, guess what? Surprise, I got you a new broom. And the wife looks a little surprised. The old one was looking kind of worn out. And then he says, no good deed goes unpunished. Yeah, last week we were talking about giving a gift. Yeah, when you give some cleaning tools as a gift to someone, yeah, it might have some strings attached, or the person, in this case, the wife, might interpret it a little bit differently. Yeah, it's good to clean together as a couple. You know, cleaning in Buddhism is one of our daily Buddhist practices. And cleaning together especially is very important, because good deeds bring us good effects. Whether man or woman, it doesn't matter. Okay. So that was another simple example of happiness. And this one is my own, I found in my photo album, Pickles by Brian Crane. There's an elderly man with a younger man, maybe playing chess. And the elderly one says, they say being a good listener is one of the most important skills you can have. What about you, Clyde? Are you a good listener? And the young man says, yes, I think I'm pretty good listener. Yeah, me neither. It's so difficult to hear each other out and to be able to listen well. So yeah, putting ourselves in others' shoes, you know, instead of getting frustrated, maybe he's the elderly man, maybe his hearing ability is kind of declining a little bit. So to be able to put ourselves in his shoes and know that it's one of the aging things that might happen, then we don't have to suffer so much. Okay, then there is another form of happiness is, I have a good friend in Hawaii, and she told me she's good at calligraphy, and if I need anything to be written by her, she's happy to do it. So I sent her some poems, and they're Japanese poems translated to English. So this one, I think she wrote it very beautifully. Yeah, there's something very special about her handwriting. This one is formidable, the relentless pace of a snail. They use this a lot in Japan, snails. Yeah, we have them in California too, a lot of snails. As we all know, they're very slow in moving. And yet there are many poems on snails in Japan, how they actually can go up a hill little by little. So it's daunting, right? Like it's so unbelievable, but something as unbelievable of a snail climbing a hill, it does happen, all because of its relentless pace. Yeah. You know which paramita this is about? One of the Buddhist practices. Not to give up, relentlessly, perseverance. Okay, I think you might have written it. Oh yeah, very good. And then we have, she wrote me one more, this one. Above, across, or back again, wherever one goes in the world, let one carefully scrutinize the rise and fall of compounded things. This is a quote by Buddha. I think my friend, she wrote this one too very beautifully. So to be able to look at something so beautiful as this, my handwriting is not too terrible, but I cannot write this well. Everything, the symmetry and like the harmony that it conveys. If anyone can write more beautifully, yeah, let me know. Offer your handwriting. I have a lot of poems that I want to share with all of you. So this one, yeah, happiness is if we can really carefully scrutinize the rise and fall of compounded things. You know, most people don't, not only they don't scrutinize, they're not even aware that anything that's compounded, that's like yeah, Yuichi explained about the tent. A tent is made of many different elements. So when those elements disassemble, the tent is not there anymore. So to know that the 10th is there when all those elements are supporting its existence, then the 10th is there. And to be able to understand this truth of impermanence or the inevitability of change, that's also, I feel, it's happiness to me. I hope it's to you too. Okay, so some of the happiness might be simple like that. And one more example of simple happiness. Yeah, we have every 2 weeks, there is this meetup on Rumi. I recommend you join me and others here. You can take a snapshot. It's called the Circle of Rumi. He's a famous poet who talks a lot about true self and true happiness. And because it's in the form of poetry, I think it's very good. So if you like it, it's on Friday nights every 2 weeks. You can check out the meetup. That's happiness too, to be able to have a hobby that you enjoy and you can talk about it with others. Okay, and now we are getting to today's topic. Put yourself in others' shoes so we can deepen our level of happiness. You know, we don't want our happiness to stagnate. So how can we cultivate more of it so we have more fulfillment in the heart? Buddha says this is daily practice. Put yourself in others' shoes. It's a short passage here. A company executive once asked an office worker to bring him change for a $100 bill. The man came back with 4 20s, 2 5s, and 10 1s. The executive was so impressed with this performance that he appointed the man to an important position in the company. It is essential to put yourself in the shoes of the user, listener, or reader. Yeah, this might be a little bit mysterious to some of us here. Japan is pretty much, it's written by a Japanese person. Yeah, and it's important to, when someone asks us something, you know, instead of just getting like irritated by the demand, if we are able to go out of our way, put ourselves in the other person's shoes and ask ourselves why this person needs this, or maybe they're looking for change for a $100 bill. And if we can go through that extra trouble and bring it to them, and letting go of our expectations, whether that was right or wrong, that's a lot of happiness. Yeah, you might not agree with it initially, but Buddha teaches us it brings us a lot of happiness. But I am gonna explain it more. So in order to understand it a little bit more, let's read like a funny story. We have this book, which is called Unshakable Spirit by Kentetsu Takamori. It's a little bit of a harder one. If you're new to Buddhism, I recommend this other book, Something You Forgot Along the Way. This is very good if you're a beginner to Buddhism. But today we are going to read the story from Unshakable Spirit, and it's number 68, which is, the title is Winning the Lottery Will Happen to Me, Disaster to Somebody Else. It's kind of funny story. Yeah, let's get it on the screen. Yeah, thank you, Jamon, for your questions and comments. How can we cultivate more happiness in our life? That's why we're here. Hopefully it will make sense to you. And if not, you raise your hand and we will get to discuss. Okay, do we have a volunteer to read the story? It's about like 3 short pages.
I can read it.
Okay, thank you, Jan.
Okay, so winning the lottery will happen to me, disaster to somebody else. Long ago, a husband and a wife who ran an inn heard that Japanese ginger could cause forgetfulness. So one day, a man who looked wealthy, carrying a great big bag, came and booked a room, hoping to make him forget his bag when he left. The greedy couple decided to offer him a meal consisting entirely of ginger soup, stewed ginger, ginger salad, and so on. So when she brought him his tray, the wife said apologetically, "We're country folk and haven't much to offer. I made a few dishes using ginger from our garden. Please help yourself." The customers overjoyed. "Ginger, is it? My favorite. Looks delicious." So as they went to sleep, the couple whispered that if they served ginger again for breakfast, he would be sure to go off and leave his bag. "I will buy you a fun dress," the husband promised, "and maybe get me some fancy clothes too." Dreaming of such things, they went to sleep. In the morning, she took in the breakfast tray. "Good morning, sir. I'm sorry I can't you offer anything fancier, but you were so pleased with the last night's supper that I took the liberty of cooking ginger again this morning." "Excellent. I see. Ginger flavored soup, stewed ginger, fried ginger, yum, yum." When he had finished his meal, the customer waved a goodbye and set off in fine spirits. "Well," said the husband, "I will go right up and search his room. I'm sure he must have forgotten something. Let's see, maybe in the closet or the bookcase. I know it must be in the bathroom. Nothing under the desk. I will lift up the floorboards and check. Nothing there either. That's funny. He didn't forget anything after all." Just then the wife came running. "Oh no," she said, "we forgot to have him pay his bill." A man and his wife were talking eagerly about what they would do when they won the lottery. "What if we win $100 million? Let's go pick it up together. Someone might try to rob us. We should take it straight to the bank." "What do you want to spend it on?" asked the husband. "A big house," answered the wife, "and a piano for our daughter." "I think I'll get a fancy car." "Good idea. We could all go on a trip somewhere far away." Just then their daughter came in and burst out laughing. "What are you talking about? You'll never win the lottery. Talk about counting your chickens before they're hatched. Disasters will happen to other people. Good things will happen to me. That's what we all assume."
Okay, thank you so much, Jian. You were reading, yeah. Were you able to get the message or something stood out for you?
The only stood out to me on the second one with the lottery is future thinking. Future thinking and worries, catastrophic prediction. No, that's all I have.
That's very good. Yeah. People talk about winning the lottery. So nothing has happened yet, and they already plan a lot of stuff. And, they can use that time to plant some seeds of happiness. We had another story. Someone was working so hard and people around him were so impressed. They were like, "How can you work so hard?" And his response was, "Because I can never harvest the result of seeds you are planting. So because I have to rely on myself, so that's why I'm so busy planting my own seeds of happiness. Because I know even if you plant a lot of seeds, you're going to be happy, but I'm not going to benefit from that necessarily. I mean, unless I approach you and try to be your friend." Yeah, so that's a good point. Yeah, future thinking, to kind of miss out on here and now instead of cultivating gratitude and joy now, trying to wish for something that we're not even certain it will bring us happiness, such as winning a lottery. Actually, Yuichi often talks in his meetups. There are many studies, you can Google it. A lot of people who won lottery, they've become unhappy. Might be counterintuitive, but yeah, because just having money is not happiness. We need to know how to manage the money. yeah, it can bring a lot of anxiety, just like the daughter said, oh, or the wife was saying, oh, we might get robbed on the way to the bank. The mind starts kicking in. It's just the worries and anxiety that robs us of that sense of happiness. So in Buddhism, unless we get a good hold of our mind, what is it that's creating our happiness or unhappiness? Even if we obtain things from outside, we cannot be truly happy. That's one message. Yeah. Thank you. Anyone else wants to share with us? The first one, about, this ginger thing in Japanese. Oh, okay, Felicia. Yeah, I'd love to hear your voice first. Go ahead, Felicia.
The past few weeks we've been talking, we haven't brought up the actual word expectations, but that's what it is. We've been talking a lot about our own expectations, our personal ones, and they were talking about winning the lottery or the fantasizing. Even myself, all of us, it's about expectations. And as you know, my sister is suffering with extreme depression, and I've gotten fascinated with expectations. So I couldn't help but pull up the actual definition of it. And it's a strong belief that something will happen or be the case in the future. It's whether basically our wants, instead of us keep thinking it's influx, it's guaranteed. And that's where the problem is. I'm going to butcher the statement, but there's a gentleman that I follow called, his name is Mo Gaudat, and he has a book called Solve for Happy, an equation for happiness. And he's basically said our happiness is equal to, basically the equation is our happiness is dependent on our expectations. If it's less than we're not happy. And everybody says, so should we lower our expectations? And you just shouldn't have any expectations. I know it seems as though you're underperforming, but it's at the end of the day, that's what it's about. It's about our own expectations.
That's beautiful. Thank you, Felicia, for sharing with us. Yeah, expectations or the kind of belief we have, what to receive from from a transaction. Yeah. Very good. Yeah, I'm gonna hold that thought, and let me hear from Al. Oh, your hand went up.
Yeah, every day I receive a word from the Esther and Jerry Hicks, the big creators of books on laws of attraction, and they talk sometimes very similar to what I hear in Buddhism. And one of the words for the day this week was about worrying, and she supposedly channels a spirit from the world and gives her these insights. And then she publishes these in a daily quote, and she also runs seminars. So the one on worrying was interesting, which kind of goes along with what you were saying. And the quote is, worrying is using your imagination to create something you do not want. That was the quote.
Yeah, we don't want suffering, right?
Yeah, so you're creating something you don't want by worrying, because from what I've heard in the same seminars, that a very large percentage of the things we worry about don't happen. I'm quoting maybe 80% of the things, and 85% of the things we worry about never happen. So we're creating things to worry about, which usually never happen.
Yeah, there are other things that will happen. That's why the worry never goes away. Yeah, so Buddhism goes to the root cause of that. Yeah, we have to cover that. It's called to think about life and to think about death is like one thing Buddha teaches us. Yeah. So yeah, we have to prepare or lay the groundwork for it to get to that point. Yeah, actually, most people, yeah, I agree. They worry about so many things that are called like non-essentials. And while they're so preoccupied with non-essentials, they forget to worry about the essential thing, which is like, why am I even here? What's the purpose of my life? What is true happiness? There is no room in their mind or hearts for these essential questions because they worry so much about non-essentials. Yeah. And I think that's what happened in the story too. They were this couple, they were kind of greedy for money. They wanted the customer at the hotel to forget his suitcase. You know, they thought there's a lot of money or valuables in the customer's suitcase. In Japan, it is said there is this kind of Japanese ginger. It's different from the ones we are used to in the USA. They say it causes forgetfulness if you eat a lot of it. It tastes very good, actually. So if you fry it, it's very refreshing. So not to be able to put ourselves in others' shoes, you know, that if I'm causing harm for others, I'm harming myself. That's Buddhism 101. Just as much as when I'm benefiting other people, I'm benefiting myself. So to the question, how can we cultivate more happiness in our lives, Jamon wrote in the chat box. The answer is by benefiting other people. What can I do to benefit others? Because otherwise, as long as we are only preoccupied with our own sense of happiness, the monkey mind is gonna keep going and ruin all of that expectation of happiness, the image of happiness that we create for ourselves. It gets ruined, unfortunately. But when we benefit other people, something shifts in our mind and heart that's difficult to describe, but in action it becomes easy. Because in mathematically speaking, it doesn't make sense. Like, you know, if I have 10 apples and I give 3 of them to you, mathematically I have 7 left, 10 minus 3. But in action, when you give 3 apples to other people, the person who gives, they will realize they don't have 7 apples. Their number of apples didn't go down. It goes to 13. So it defies mathematics rule. And that's why it's difficult to explain why happiness works the way it does. By benefiting other people, we benefit ourselves. Okay, I see that Al has his hand up. Go ahead,
Yeah,
Al.
I think in the story too about they thought that he would forget his suitcase, and they were worried about that. And I think it said he forgot to pay his bill, which was worse than worried about his suitcase. So they didn't worry about the essential things; they worried about the minor things.
Yeah, exactly. Or being overcome by their greed. You know, probably the customer would have paid his fair share.
Yeah, I mean, they were greedy, hoping he'd leave his suitcase, but he didn't pay his bills.
Yeah. And Buddhism is helping us question, isn't that happening to us? Aren't we ourselves ruining our sense of happiness every day by allowing our greed to overtake us? Yeah, so that's the question here. I see that Jamon has his hand up. Go ahead.
Yeah, and like Al just said, I could think about many times in my life where I was in a rush to do something because I was worrying about this or worrying about that, and worrying brings up all these anxieties. So now you're worrying in a panicking kind of mode that I forget to do something that I'm actually supposed to do. You know, so like say if I'm worrying about going to God, I got to make it to the DMV. I got to make it there fast. I got to have all this, and I make it there, but then I forget the documents at the house. So now I have to go back. I'm the first person in line, but now I have to go all the way back and get the documents that I forgot because I was worrying so much about being the first person in line. And now I have to go back and get the documents that I forgot. So yeah, just I mean, that story didn't happen to me. It was a different story, but yeah, Al just made me think about that, or how worrying really affects our lives. It really distracts us from even thinking about happiness or being happy at all.
Yeah, thank you for sharing. So to be able to distinguish the essential from the non-essential. So in that example, the essential thing is before going to our destination, in that case, the DMV, before going there, we have to have all the documents ready, like have a checklist and make sure we have it all. But as you very well described, so the mind is so anxious to get to the destination so fast, we forget something. Yeah, so not being able to practice that mindfulness. Yeah, very good. Yeah, so to take responsibility that I need to change something within myself, that is happiness too, actually. Most people cannot do that. Yeah, maybe they go to DMV and then they express anger at the DMV employee, whereas I forgot to bring my document. It's nobody's fault. To be able to take that responsibility, and you practice the paramita of self-reflection, which is self-improvement, next time you're going to calm the mind and slow down, and then make sure you have it with you instead of being in that rush or that state of anxiousness. That's constant level of improvement is also translating to constant level of feeling fulfilled and joyful in life if you see your own transformation or your progress. Yeah, very good. Felicia, did you have your hand up?
I did. It's a little off topic, but I wanted to comment when you were doing the comic strips and the jokes. And then you followed it up with put yourself in other people's shoes. When we talk about the parameters and being kind to others, I think we don't consider it too much in a discussion, argument, debate, etc. A lot of people, when you're trying to persuade somebody in an argument or trying to make a point, we don't know the power of humor. And it's more than just laughter, but you can persuade a person subtly because it requires you to slow down, take thought, and consider the other person to make them laugh, to persuade them to, and I just thought about that when you were reading all of them. Every time you chuckle, it sticks with you. So imagine you in a volatile argument and somebody makes a point, whether you agree or I think that's why comedians get people on opposing sides to laugh. So I love the power of humor, and it does require you to slow down, think about what you're saying, and thinking about the other person because you want to make them laugh. Yeah.
Oh, that's beautiful. Yeah, thank you so much, Felicia, for sharing. Yeah, and actually that's why I was sharing the meetup on Rumi with all of you in the slideshow, because yeah, to be able to laugh, not take it too seriously, right? When someone says something, that means we need to identify that egoic mind to see we all have our ego, right? And how it gets triggered so easily. That's happiness. Initially, it's hard, it's painful because we're like, oh, wow, my ego is so big. It hurts initially, but once we confront that truth of our ego, and then we want to, yeah, the Rumi was saying like how you create this conversion, you convert that. So ego is like everything that has to do with me or I, or this is mine, my philosophy or my belief or my whatever, my looks, whatever. So all these things we identify with. Instead, try to make the core of you emptiness. Yeah, that's what in Buddhism we are aiming for. It's not easy. Yeah, it's not easy. So we want to have basically nothingness. Because if we depend on something or someone too hard, if you identify too much, we always have to suffer. To understand this formula, that suffering and happiness, they're like two sides of a coin. And then you can rise above it. And yeah, so putting ourselves in others' shoes, that's how we practice every day if we want more and more happiness in life. And then also, before we conclude for today, is this one here. So daily practice, yeah, in order to empty the mind of all these non-essentials, all the shenanigans, all the dramas and all the sufferings, we need to put ourselves in other people's shoes. That means give to others whatever you're able to give. And especially non-material giving, it's easy to practice. Let us give the gift of a kindly gaze or peaceful, friendly look. You can give the gift of kind speech, like Felicia, thank you. Giving through the body, like volunteer work. Giving through the mind or heart, which means we express gratitude. And giving place to others or giving of food and shelter. The more we give to others, the more we see how blessed we are ourselves, and we can have nothingness at that core. There's once we gain that true happiness has no shape or form. That's why one reason is it's compared with nothingness. So once we have that, it can never be stolen from us. We can never lose it. It never gets washed away by a flood or burned in fire. And that's what true happiness is like. So I hope that we all got something from today. If you practice even one thing that you got today, that will bring us a lot of joy. And that one thing becomes the beginning of an ocean worth of happiness, fulfillment of the heart, and serenity. So with that, yeah, I'm very happy that we are here together, sharing the Dharma, listening and sharing. Take good care and hope to see you next time. Bye.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Thank
Thank
you.
you.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye,
Thank you.
everybody.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Yep,
Bye.
have a-
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye. Jamal.